First tonight, a
Prime Crime Network
exclusive.
Folks meet Robbrie Thompson. See, he was 16 years old at the time, but he was charged with aggravated first-degree murder, first-degree robbery, first-degree conspiracy to commit robbery, 2 counts of second-degree assault, and second-degree unlawful possession of a firearm. He was ordered and held on a $2 million bail and was kept at Reman Hall Juvenile Detention Center. Robbrie Thompson is one of 2 16-year-old boys suspected of robbing the Handy Corner store in Puyallup. Owner Sujam Nam was shot in the back and killed during the holdup. Investigators think that the other suspect shot her, according to court records. That person is Franklin Thuo of Federal Way, and he washed up dead near Chinook Marina in Tacoma with a gunshot wound to the head. Thuo's death has been ruled a homicide and detectives are still investigating. Current evidence supports the conclusion that Soon Nam was killed in the furtherance of the planned robbery and to also assist in concealing the identities of the participants. Deputy Prosecutor Kawane Lund wrote in the Declaration of Determination of Probable Cause, the state reserves the right to add additional charges to include charges related to the death of F.T. Thomason Thuo entered the Handy Corner store about 5 p.m., allegedly with guns, and Nam yelled for her husband, who was nearby. As he walked towards the counter, he saw Nam coming towards him, and she fell to the ground. The single gunshot wound to her back killed her. Before she lost consciousness, she yelled from the floor for her husband to open the till. Her husband opened the register at gunpoint, and the gunman started taking cash. That's when a long-time customer arrived at the store. As a young man believed to be Thompson was exiting the business, investigators believe Thompson left the store immediately after Thuo shot Nam. Witnesses saw someone matching Thompson's description in the driver's seat of a car outside, upset and pounding the steering wheel. Once inside the store, the longtime customer confronted someone he found taking cash from the register, but backed off when he saw that that person had a gun and had activated its slide. Then that gunman fled the store and drove off with the suspect who matched Thompson's description. Investigators found what was thought to be the getaway vehicle in Federal Way and learned Thuo owned it.
Crime that left a community devastated. A beloved Puyallup business owner murdered. Tonight, a teen suspect is behind bars facing 40 years in prison.
This all happened in April of 2019. That's when Robbrie Thompson and a friend robbed a market about a mile from the South Hill Mall.
Now, during the incident, Thompson shot and killed the 79-year-old store owner, but his crime spree did not stop there.
The death of Sujam Nam made a huge impact on her community. 3 years later, 19-year-old Robbrie Thompson is facing punishment for the crime.
I believe Mr. Thompson is dangerous. I believe he has a propensity for significant violence in the future.
During the sentencing hearing, the judge talked about the events that took place before and after the robbery.
She was shot in the back, moving away, going into her apartment.
Judge James Orlando also explained why Robbrie Thompson turned on his friend.
He asked her if he should just kill Franklin to prevent him from ratting on him, and ultimately left his residence early that evening on foot.
Fearing his accomplice would rat him out, evidence shows Thompson researched where the best places to shoot someone. He then convinced Franklin Thuo, Thompson's accomplice in the original crime, to go smoke with him at the beach. At the beach, Thompson tricked his friend into looking for a missing earring so that he could shoot him in the head. Thompson then stole his dead friend's shoes and even posed in them for a video. Thompson also sold the gun used in both murders.
That's not the kind of adolescent mind that demonstrates a lack of capacity, the lack of the ability to understand right from wrong. It shows willful purpose.
Despite being convicted of these crimes, Robbrie Thompson still claims he didn't kill either victim.
Regardless of what the state can prove and how they make it seem, I did not kill Miss Storm. I didn't pull the trigger. It hurts mentally walking around every day being looked at as a backstabbing, untrustworthy guy who killed his friend in cold blood when I'm not and I didn't.
I believe there are two people inside of Mr. Thompson. There's one who can present a picture of being a concerned young man, somebody who can do well in school, who wants to involve himself, who wants to apologize. But the bottom line is the only person that Mr. Thompson cares about is Mr. Thompson.
And the defense put a big focus on Thompson's age during this hearing. The judge did say in his sentencing he took account Thompson's age, but he also said he took account the meticulous nature that Thompson had planning both the robbery and everything that followed.
Yeah, well, Thompson denied full culpability for these deaths, but refused to implicate anyone else. Pierce County Superior Court Judge James Orlando ultimately handed down that sentence of 40 years, which he says will put Thompson around 55 years old when he's released. Robbrie Thompson will begin serving a 40-year sentence.
Mrs. Naum was nearly 80 years old. They had been married for over 40 years. She and her husband owned the Handy Corner Market forever, according to the neighbors. The stories that we were told in the course of preparing for this case by neighbors and what have you, of the individual stories of what she and her husband did for the community, I'd never heard before.
The state says Thompson shot and killed Naum, then later killed the other suspects so they wouldn't confess or testify against him. Though Thompson disputes the charges, he was convicted on 8 counts. And today he learned how long he'll be behind bars. Thompson's defense noted he'd suffered abuse at the hands of his biological father when young and faced PTSD surrounding these events, asking for 25 years.
It was a tragedy for 3 families, the 2 families of the deceased and the family of Mr. Thompson. All 3 of these families have been irreparably harmed.
Prosecutors asked for 45. The judge said he weighed Thompson's age, childhood experiences, degree of responsibility, and chance of rehabilitation to ultimately sentence him to 40 on the first murder charge, with sentences for the robbery and other charges to be served concurrently. And as you can imagine, Naum's family is still really reeling from this loss. The state's saying that her husband was just too heartbroken to testify, but said that he wanted to see justice in this case.
Hannah, just a heartbreaking situation. Since that incident, the store owners sold this store.